Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. Now, let's see what happens next in this unexpected twist of fate. Stay tuned for part 2. After a few minutes, Emma finally arrived home, the weight of the evening still hanging on her shoulders. She threw her coat onto the chair and collapsed onto the couch. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jenny. "So, how did it go? Did you finally meet your date?" Emma stared at the message, feeling a mixture of embarrassment and frustration. She'd run out on him, a complete stranger who probably didn't even care. She had already made a fool of herself, and now she couldn't stop replaying the moment in her head. "What was I thinking?" she muttered under her breath. She grabbed her phone to text Jenny back when the doorbell rang. Emma frowned, wondering who it could be this late at night. She opened the door to find Liam standing there, looking just as surprised as she felt. "Hey, Emma," he said softly, his hands in his pockets. "I hope I'm not interrupting, but I thought we could finish the conversation." Emma blinked, momentarily speechless. This was definitely not what she expected. She was still processing the fact that he wasn't Kevin, let alone the fact that he'd actually tracked her down. She was about to apologize again, but he cut her off. "I know this must be a little unexpected, but you're the first person in a long time who's been real with me. I wanted to apologize for not saying something sooner. You're not the only one who's awkward in these situations, you know?" His words left her a little stunned, her heart racing. She stepped aside, not knowing what to say, and gestured for him to come in. "I didn't expect you to come all the way here," Emma said, leading him to the living room. Liam smiled, shrugging slightly. "I wasn't sure either, but something about you. It's refreshing." They sat down, and for the first time since they met, Emma didn't feel like she had to perform or put on a show. It was strange, but the conversation was easy. He wasn't judging her for the mess that was her life. He listened to her, really listened, as she talked about her dreams, the gallery she wanted to open, and the challenges of working multiple jobs to make ends meet. She had always felt like a nobody in a world of polished professionals, but with him, it felt different. Liam wasn't looking at her like she was just another waitress, another face to add to his list. He was genuinely interested in what she had to say. "You know, I think you'd do great with that gallery," Liam said, his voice warm. "You've got passion, and that's something a lot of people lack." Emma laughed, feeling a little embarrassed. "Yeah, well, passion doesn't pay rent." She gestured to her modest apartment, which wasn't much, but it was hers. Liam looked around the small space, and then back at her. "It's not about the money. It's about having something that means something to you." Emma stared at him, still processing his words. She had always assumed that success was about wealth, status, or connections, but Liam's words made her rethink everything. Suddenly, she felt embarrassed by the way she had been talking to him, as though she was some charity case, just a girl from a small town trying to get by. But Liam wasn't treating her like that. "I'm sorry for running off like that," she said, her voice low. "I wasn't thinking. I didn't want to embarrass myself more." Liam gave her a reassuring smile. "You didn't embarrass yourself. Honestly, I was kind of relieved. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one who didn't know what to do." Emma let out a small laugh. It felt good to laugh, to not have to pretend. For once, she wasn't pretending to be someone else. And maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to. The evening ended on a good note, with them agreeing to meet again. Emma wasn't sure where this was going, but for the first time in a long while, she was willing to let herself enjoy the ride. Stay tuned to see what happens next as the story unfolds. It had been a week since Liam and Emma's unexpected meeting, and things had changed. Emma felt a nervous excitement every time her phone buzzed, wondering if it would be Liam on the other end. Despite herself, she had started to look forward to their conversations. They hadn't made any promises to each other, but it was clear that there was something there, something more than just two people passing the time. Liam had asked her out a few times since that night, but she had been hesitant. She wasn't used to this kind of attention. She had always been the girl who stayed in the background, invisible, doing what she had to do to get by. But Liam, he saw her, and she didn't know how to handle that. On a chilly Thursday afternoon, after finishing her shift at the cafe, Emma received another message from him. "Hey, I was wondering if you'd like to join me for a charity gala tomorrow night. It's a black tie event, so I'd be happy to help you with anything you need. You're welcome to say no, but I thought it would be fun to go together. Emma stared at the text, feeling a flutter in her stomach. A charity gala? The idea of attending such an event, especially with someone like Liam, felt so out of her league. She had never been to anything that fancy in her life. What would she wear? What would she say? But at the same time, she couldn't deny the thrill at the thought of stepping into a world she never imagined. I'll go. She typed back before she could overthink it. She felt nervous, but also strangely excited. The next day, Emma found herself standing in front of a full-length mirror, staring at a simple yet elegant black dress Liam had helped her pick out. She never would have imagined herself in something like this. Nothing fancy, but it made her feel like she belonged in a different world. She wasn't the girl who belonged in expensive stores or high society events. But tonight, she would try to be. When she arrived at the venue, her heart raced. The grand hall glittered with chandeliers, and the sound of laughter and clinking glasses filled the air. Liam was already there, looking impossibly handsome in a well-tailored tuxedo. As soon as he saw her, his face lit up, and Emma felt her heart skip a beat. "You look amazing," he said, his voice filled with genuine admiration. Emma blushed, feeling out of place but grateful for his kindness. "Thank you," she whispered, still adjusting to the world around her. Liam offered her his arm, and they entered the gala together. The evening went by in a blur of conversations, laughter, and a few awkward moments. Emma was amazed at how easy it was to talk to Liam in this unfamiliar setting. He made her feel comfortable, like she didn't have to pretend to be someone else. And, strangely, the more she learned about him, the more she realized how much they had in common. They both valued honesty, hard work, and the simple pleasures in life. As the evening drew to a close, Liam led her to the balcony, away from the crowd. The city lights sparkled below, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. "I know this is all a little overwhelming," Liam said quietly, his gaze softening. "But I want you to know that I'm not just inviting you to these events because of your connection to my work or because of the contract we talked about before. I want to get to know you, Emma. The real you." Emma's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected him to say that. "But I thought this was all just for show?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I thought you were just helping me because of the deal." Liam reached for her hand, his touch gentle but firm. "No, Emma," he said softly, "this is real. What we have is real, and I think we both know it." Emma stood there, unsure of what to say. Her heart was racing, and for the first time in a long time, she felt seen. Truly seen. Liam wasn't just offering her a way into his world. He was offering her a chance to share it with him. And, for once, Emma felt like she was ready to take that step. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew that this moment, this night, was the start of something she never thought she'd experience. She squeezed his hand, smiling up at him, and in that instant, everything changed. Stay tuned for the next chapter of their unexpected journey. The following days after the gala were a whirlwind for Emma. She couldn't stop thinking about the way Liam had looked at her on the balcony, the way his words lingered in her mind. What we have is real. She wasn't sure if she was ready to fully believe it, but the more time she spent with him, the more she felt like maybe, just maybe, it was possible. Liam didn't just bring her into his world. He made her feel like she belonged there. After their evening together, he made it a point to check in with her, whether it was a casual text or a call to see how her day was going. It wasn't just about business anymore, and that was something Emma had never expected. He genuinely cared. Emma found herself looking forward to those small moments, even though part of her still feared she didn't deserve it. Her life had always been about struggling to survive, working at the cafe, taking on extra shifts, paying bills, making sure she had enough for rent. But with Liam, things felt different. As much as she tried to remind herself this wasn't real, this was just a contract. She couldn't help the way her heart fluttered when he reached out. One evening, a couple of days after the gala, Liam invited her to dinner at a new restaurant he'd been raving about. Emma had been hesitant at first, unsure if it was a good idea, but something about him, something in his eyes, made her agree. As she walked into the restaurant, she immediately felt out of place. The lighting was dim and soft. The air was filled with the scent of fine cuisine, and the waiters moved gracefully between the tables. It was the kind of place Emma had only ever seen in movies. When she spotted Liam, sitting at a table near the window, her breath caught. He looked effortlessly handsome in a tailored suit, his gaze already on her as she approached. "You made it," he said, standing up and offering her a smile that felt both warm and genuine. Emma smiled back, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being out of her element. She took a seat across from him, trying to mask her nerves, but Liam seemed to sense it. "You're okay?" he asked, his voice soft. "You don't have to do this if it feels too much." Emma shook her head, her heart thumping in her chest. "No, I want to be here." Asterisk, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. It's all so different from what I'm used to. But I'm here. I want to be." Liam smiled, a little relieved. "I get it. I know it's not easy, but you're doing great." The evening flowed easily after that. The food was amazing, and the conversation was even better. For once, Emma didn't feel like she was pretending to be someone she wasn't. She was just Emma, someone who loved art, who dreamed of opening a gallery, who had struggled but kept pushing forward. And Liam listened. He didn't judge. He understood. After dinner, they took a walk outside the restaurant. The cool night air felt refreshing, and the sounds of the city were comforting. As they strolled, Emma found herself opening up more to Liam than she ever had with anyone. "I've always wanted to own a gallery," she admitted. "But I don't think I'll ever have the chance. I don't come from money, and sometimes it feels like everything is just out of reach." Liam listened quietly, and then he spoke, his voice gentle but firm. "You don't need money to have a dream, Emma. You need determination, hard work, and the right people by your side. And you've got that. You're not alone in this." Emma stopped walking, looking at him, surprised by the sincerity in his words. "I don't know if I can believe that," she said softly, feeling vulnerable. "I've always felt like I'm just trying to survive, not to thrive." Liam took a step closer, his expression soft but resolute. "Then let me help you. I believe in you. I believe in your dream. You're not just surviving, Emma. You're meant to thrive. And I'll be here every step of the way." Emma felt a lump form in her throat. His words hit deeper than she expected. He wasn't just offering her help. He was offering her something more. He was offering her a partnership, a chance to believe in herself again. "I don't know what to say," she whispered, her voice shaking. Liam smiled, brushing a stray hair from her face. "You don't have to say anything. Just know that you're not in this alone." The moment was quiet, filled with an unspoken understanding. Emma knew she couldn't keep hiding behind her walls forever. There was something real here, something worth exploring. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to let herself believe that she deserved it. As they stood there in the cool night air, the lights of the city flickering around them, Emma realized that for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was part of something bigger. Not just with Liam, but with herself. The future was uncertain, but she was ready to face it, with him by her side. Stay tuned for the next chapter as Emma and Liam's journey continues. The days that followed felt like a dream to Emma. Liam's words about believing in her kept echoing in her mind. She hadn't realized how much she needed to hear them. For so long, she had been focused on simply surviving, on getting through the day-to-day struggles. But now, with his support, something inside her was shifting. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was beginning to believe that she could actually have a future beyond the cafe and her cramped apartment. That night after their walk, Emma found herself staring at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. What was happening between her and Liam? Was this real? She had always been cynical when it came to relationships, convinced that they were just a distraction or a way to fill the loneliness. But with Liam, it felt different. He wasn't just offering her a way out. He was offering her a way in, into a life she never imagined for herself. The next day, Emma received a call from Liam. "Hey, Emma," he said, his voice warm. "I've been thinking. There's an opportunity I want you to consider. There's a charity event next week, and we're looking for someone to help coordinate the silent auction. I think you'd be perfect for the job. What do you think?" Emma paused, surprised. The thought of taking on a new project felt overwhelming. But at the same time, the idea of contributing to something bigger than herself excited her. "I don't know, Liam," she said slowly. "I'm not sure I'm ready for something like that. I've never really done anything like it before." "I know it's a big step," Liam replied. "But I believe in you. You've got the passion, and that's what counts. You don't have to be perfect. Just give it a try. I'll be there to support you the whole way." Emma hesitated, but then something in her clicked. "Okay," she said. a small smile forming on her lips. I'll do it. The decision to take on the charity event felt like a turning point for Emma. It wasn't just about the auction or impressing anyone. It was about proving to herself that she could handle more than she thought. And, deep down, it was about trusting Liam, trusting that he truly believed in her. The days leading up to the event were filled with preparation. Emma worked tirelessly to organize everything, from the items to be auctioned off to the logistics of the event itself. She felt a sense of pride in her work, something she hadn't felt in a long time. And Liam? He was there, every step of the way, checking in, offering advice, and making sure she felt supported. On the night of the event, Emma stood at the entrance of the grand ballroom, feeling a mix of nerves and anticipation. The room was breathtaking, with sparkling chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and elegantly dressed guests mingling with glasses of champagne in hand. It was a world so different from her own, but as she looked around, she realized that it wasn't as intimidating as she had once thought. This was her world too now. She belonged here. Liam found her just as the event was starting to pick up. He smiled when he saw her, clearly impressed with how she had handled everything. You did it, he said, his voice full of pride. You look amazing, Emma. Emma couldn't help but smile. Thank you, she replied, her voice tinged with relief. It feels good to actually be part of something like this. As the night went on, Emma found herself in the middle of conversations with some of the most influential people in the room. She spoke with ease, her nerves now a distant memory. She realized that the only thing that had ever held her back was her own doubt. She had always thought she didn't belong, but now, she knew that she did. By the end of the night, the auction had raised more money than they had hoped for, and the event was considered a huge success. Emma stood by the entrance, watching the guests leave, a sense of accomplishment settling over her. Liam joined her, a soft smile on his face. You were amazing tonight, he said, his voice filled with admiration. Emma looked at him, her heart beating a little faster. Thank you for believing in me, she said, her voice soft. I don't think I could have done it without you. Liam stepped closer, his eyes meeting hers. Emma, he said quietly, you've always had it in you. You just needed someone to remind you. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, the realization that, with Liam, she was beginning to see herself in a way she never had before. She wasn't just the girl who worked at the cafe. She was capable. She was strong. And maybe, just maybe, she was starting to believe in the life Liam saw for her, a life filled with possibilities she had never imagined. As the night drew to a close, Liam took her hand in his, giving it a gentle squeeze. I think this is just the beginning for you, Emma. Emma smiled, her heart full. I think you're right. Stay tuned for the next chapter as Emma's journey of self-discovery continues. The days following the charity event felt like a new chapter for Emma. It wasn't just about the success of the auction or the praise she had received from everyone at the gala. It was about something deeper. She had stepped into a world she never thought possible, and for the first time in a long time, she felt proud of herself. Liam continued to be a constant presence in her life, supporting her, encouraging her, but now something else was beginning to stir inside Emma. It was more than just gratitude. She was starting to feel something stronger for him. That feeling wasn't lost on Liam either. Every time they spent time together, whether it was at a quiet dinner or just a casual walk through the city, the chemistry between them seemed to grow. But Emma still held herself back. She wasn't ready to admit it, not yet. She wasn't sure if she could trust herself, trust the emotions that were slowly creeping in. It was a Monday afternoon when she received another call from Liam. Hey Emma, are you free tonight? I've been thinking. I'd like to take you somewhere special. I want to show you something. She hesitated for a moment, her pulse quickening. Liam always had a way of making her feel like something exciting was just around the corner. Where are we going? She asked, trying to keep her voice steady. It's a surprise, Liam replied, his voice playful yet sincere. I promise it'll be worth it. We're something comfortable. Emma agreed, feeling a flutter of excitement in her chest. That evening, she met Liam at a small cafe in the heart of the city. She was a little unsure what to expect, but when she saw him standing outside, waiting for her with that familiar smile, she felt a rush of warmth. I have to admit, she said with a laugh, I'm curious. What's the surprise? Liam grinned and held out his hand. Come with me and you'll see. He led her through the city, his hand gently brushing hers as they walked side by side. The city's bright lights illuminated their path, and for a moment, everything else faded away. They walked for a few blocks before arriving at a small art gallery. Emma blinked, surprised. "I didn't even know this place existed," she said, looking up at the charming building. "It's been here for a while," Liam explained. "But I thought it would be the perfect place to bring you. You've always talked about your dreams of opening your own gallery, so I thought, maybe you should see this." They stepped inside, and Emma's eyes immediately widened in awe. The gallery was filled with incredible works of art, each piece more breathtaking than the last. As they walked through the space, Liam shared stories about the artists and the exhibitions that had been held there over the years. It was a world that felt both familiar and new to Emma. Familiar because it was full of the things she had always loved, but new because it was a glimpse of the life she had dreamed of. As they reached the end of the gallery, Liam turned to her. "What do you think?" he asked, his gaze soft but expectant. Emma couldn't find the words at first. The place was beautiful, inspiring. But it was more than that. It felt like a message, a sign that everything she had been working toward was possible. I think it's amazing. Asterisk, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is exactly what I've always wanted. To be surrounded by art, to be part of something like this." Liam smiled, a glint of pride in his eyes. "I knew you'd feel that way." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "There's one more thing," he said. Emma took the envelope, her hands trembling slightly. She opened it to find a business card with the name of the gallery printed on it. "This is yours now," Liam said quietly. "I've spoken to the owner. They're looking for someone to help organize upcoming exhibitions. They need someone with your passion, Emma. I told them you were perfect for the job." Emma's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just an invitation. It was a chance, a real opportunity. "Liam, she struggled to find the words. This was too much, too fast. But Liam just smiled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've earned it, Emma. You've worked hard for this. And I believe in you." Emma stood there, staring at the business card, her mind racing. This was more than she ever expected. It was a dream, but it was also something real, something she could hold on to. She felt the weight of everything shifting inside her. For the first time, she wasn't just chasing a dream. She was living it. As she looked up at Liam, she realized that he wasn't just offering her a job or an opportunity. He was offering her a chance to build the life she had always wanted. And with him by her side, she knew anything was possible. Stay tuned for the next chapter in Emma's incredible journey. Emma could hardly believe what had just happened. The small business card in her hand felt like it was pulsating with possibility. She stared at it for a long moment, the words printed on it blurry in her vision. "I'm here," she thought. "I'm finally here." The art gallery that had once felt like a dream was now within her grasp. She wasn't just an outsider looking in anymore. She was part of something real, something she had worked her whole life for. As she looked up at Liam, who was watching her with that familiar, soft expression, she felt overwhelmed. Her heart was racing, her thoughts swirling. This was more than just a career opportunity. This was everything she had ever wanted. It was the thing she thought was always just out of reach. But here it was, right in front of her. "Liam, Emma started, but the words caught in her throat. She wasn't sure how to thank him, how to express the gratitude she felt. Liam smiled, his eyes warm and understanding. "You don't have to say anything," he said gently. "You've worked hard for this. It's yours. You deserve it." Emma nodded, but a part of her still couldn't believe it. This was the moment when everything could change, when her life could take the turn she had always dreamed of. But there was something else, something deeper that she couldn't ignore. The connection between her and Liam had grown stronger over the past few weeks, and though she tried to brush it off, she couldn't deny the feelings she was beginning to develop for him. Liam wasn't just someone offering her a chance. He was someone who had been there for her from the very beginning, believing in her when she didn't even believe in herself. And as she stood there, holding the business card, she realized that the feelings she had been suppressing were no longer something she could ignore. The idea of trusting someone, of letting someone into her life beyond just the professional realm, was terrifying. She had always kept her walls up, afraid of letting anyone in, afraid of being hurt. But with Liam, it felt different. The night had been a whirlwind of emotions for Emma, and as she left the gallery, walking through the city streets with Liam by her side, she felt a new sense of peace. It wasn't just about the career, the job, or the gallery. It was about everything that had led her here, about the trust she was learning to place in herself, in Liam, and in the future she was starting to envision. They walked silently for a few moments, both caught in their own thoughts, before Liam spoke up again. "I know this is a lot to take in, Emma," he said softly, "but just know that I'm here. Whatever you need, I'm here for you." Emma smiled, a little shy, her heart swelling at his words. "Thank you," she whispered, not knowing what else to say. The walk felt comfortable, easy, and as they reached her apartment, she turned to him, her thoughts clearer than they had been all night. "I think I'm ready," Emma said, looking him in the eyes, her voice steady. "I'm ready for this, for everything." Liam's face softened, and for a moment, it felt like the world around them had stopped. He reached out, placing a hand gently on hers, a small but meaningful gesture that said more than words ever could. "I'm glad," he said, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "I'm proud of you, Emma." With those words, something clicked inside her. She wasn't just ready for the job, for the gallery, or for the new life she was building. She was ready for what was unfolding between them. It wasn't just a dream anymore. It was real, and it was something worth fighting for. Stay tuned as Emma's journey continues, and her path toward love and success grows ever more intertwined. Over the next few weeks, Emma settled into her new role at the gallery. It felt surreal at first, working in a space filled with beauty, with people who truly valued art. Every day, she was learning something new, from curating exhibitions to dealing with the logistics of organizing events. She couldn't help but feel grateful, not just for the job itself, but for the belief that Liam had shown in her. It wasn't just about the career anymore. It was about the new life she was building. Slowly but surely, Emma started to feel like she truly belonged. She worked hard, taking on every challenge with enthusiasm. It wasn't easy, but with every success, she felt more confident, more capable. But despite all the progress in her professional life, there was still one thing Emma hadn't fully acknowledged, the growing feelings she had for Liam. She couldn't deny it any longer. The way he supported her, the way he made her feel like she mattered, he wasn't just a mentor or a friend. He was something more. And yet, every time she let herself think about it, a small voice of doubt crept in. Could she really trust this? Could she really let herself believe that something so beautiful could be real? One evening, after another busy day at the gallery, Emma and Liam found themselves sitting in a small park near her apartment. The sun was just beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the trees. The city was quieter here, as if the park had its own little bubble of peace. They sat on a bench, the silence comfortable between them, the only sound being the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. Emma couldn't remember the last time she had felt this at ease. She stole a glance at Liam, who was looking out at the horizon, lost in thought. His expression softened as he turned to her, his voice quiet but steady. "You've come so far, Emma. I'm really proud of you." Emma smiled, but there was a slight unease in her heart. She wasn't sure how to respond, not because she didn't appreciate his words, but because she felt like there was something more to their connection, something unspoken. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "I don't know what to say. I never thought I could be here. But you've made it possible." Liam reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. The simple gesture felt intimate, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. "I didn't do it for you," Liam said softly. "You did this. You worked hard. You earned it." Emma felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words, but there was still a question lingering in the back of her mind. "But what about us, Liam?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam's eyes softened, and for a long moment, he didn't say anything. He just looked at her, as if weighing his words carefully. Finally, he took a deep breath, his voice low and sincere. "Emma, I'm not asking for anything from you, but I think we both know that what we have is real. And if you're ready, if you can trust me, I'd like to see where this goes. I want to be there for you, not just as a friend, but as something more." Emma's heart raced. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, and yet, in that moment, it didn't feel like a burden. It felt like the beginning of something new, something beautiful. She looked at Liam, seeing the honesty in his eyes, and for the first time in what felt like forever, Emma allowed herself to be vulnerable. "I'm ready," she whispered. "I've been ready for a while, but I needed to hear you say it. I needed to know that you were as ready as I am." Liam smiled, his eyes lighting up, and before Emma could say another word, he leaned in, gently, pressing his lips to hers. The kiss was soft, tentative at first, but it quickly deepened, as if they were both finally letting go of the walls they had built up. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise. A promise that whatever came next, they would face it together. As they pulled away, Emma rested her forehead against Liam's, her heart still racing. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "For believing in me. For showing me what's possible." Liam brushed his thumb across her cheek, his expression tender. "You've always had the strength inside you, Emma. I just helped you see it." Emma smiled, feeling like everything had finally fallen into place. She wasn't just chasing dreams anymore. She was living them, and with Liam by her side, she knew that the future was full of endless possibilities. Stay tuned for the next part of Emma and Liam's journey as they step into a new chapter of their lives. As the weeks passed, Emma and Liam's relationship blossomed in ways neither of them had expected. They grew closer, not just as partners in business, but as two people who truly cared for one another. Emma felt like she had finally found a place where she could be herself, where she didn't have to pretend to be someone else. She was no longer just a waitress working at a cafe. She was a woman with a future, with dreams that were no longer out of reach. Liam continued to support her, not just in her career, but in her personal growth. He never pushed her, never rushed her, and that was something Emma had never experienced before. She had always felt like she had to prove herself, but with Liam, she felt accepted, understood, and most importantly, loved. One evening, after another long day at the gallery, Liam took Emma out for a quiet dinner at the same restaurant where they had shared their first official date. The familiarity of the place made Emma feel at ease, and as they sat across from each other, she couldn't help but smile. "I've been thinking," Liam said, his eyes soft as he looked at her. "About the future, about us." Emma felt her heart skip a beat. She knew this conversation was coming, but that didn't make it any easier. "I think we've both come a long way," he continued, his voice steady. "And I want you to know that whatever happens, I'm here for you. We've built something real together." Emma nodded, her heart swelling with emotion. She wasn't sure where their relationship would take them, but she knew one thing for sure. They had something special. "I know," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm ready, Liam. I've been ready for a while now. For us. For this." Liam smiled, a sense of relief crossing his features. He reached across the table and took her hand in his, giving it a gentle squeeze. "You've always been ready, Emma. I've seen it in you from the beginning. And I'm proud of you, of everything you've accomplished." Emma's eyes filled with tears as she looked at him. She had never felt so seen, so understood. The walls she had built around herself for so long were finally coming down. She felt free, in a way she never had before. As the evening drew to a close, Liam stood up and extended his hand to her. "Let's go," he said, his smile warm and inviting. "I've got one more surprise for you." Emma raised an eyebrow, a curious smile playing on her lips. "Another surprise?" she asked, laughing softly. "What is it this time?" Liam grinned and led her out of the restaurant. He guided her to a car waiting outside, and as they drove through the city, Emma couldn't help but wonder what he had planned. The car eventually pulled up to a beautiful park overlooking the skyline. The city lights glittered in the distance, and the air was cool and crisp. Liam led her to a bench overlooking the view and sat down next to her. "I wanted to bring you here," he said quietly, his voice full of emotion. "Because this is where I first realized that what we have is something special. I want to make this official, Emma." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, velvet box. Emma gasped as he opened it to reveal a beautiful ring. "Will you marry me?" Liam asked, his eyes full of hope and sincerity. Emma's heart raced. She had never imagined her life could be this perfect, this full of love. Without hesitation, she nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will marry you." As Liam slipped the ring onto her finger, Emma knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together. They had come so far, and they would face whatever came next hand in hand. It wasn't just the gallery, the career, or the life they had built. It was the love they had for each other that made everything fall into place. As they embraced, Emma felt a sense of peace wash over her. She wasn't just living her dream anymore. She was sharing it with someone who loved her, believed in her, and would be with her every step of the way. Together, they had created something real, And for the first time in her life, Emma knew that her future was bright. And it was all just beginning. Stay tuned for the next chapter in their beautiful journey together.